Had the power go out violently multiple times. It was nice. I actually landed here on Sunday and power was out for about 10 hours. So you're getting a theme right now. There's a lot of power outages here on the island. So anything can and will happen here on island time. But welcome everybody again. My name is Don Kaufman. I am broadcasting live from St. Croix. I'm in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Be down here for another week or so. It's tough, it's like 82 degrees. I'm gonna live through it. I'm saying that just to torture anybody, of course, anywhere basically in the Midwest right now, which is freezing. I talk a lot to like Jeff Bierman. It's like, yeah, it's snowing here today. I'm thinking about strolling on the beach later. It should be lovely. So welcome everybody. Give everybody a minute to get kind of tuned in. Huh? We're all good. Okay, where's everybody joining us from? I love to know that. So feel free to chat in that. This is not a Costco shirt. I swear to you. Okay, it's not even close to a Costco shirt. Okay, this one's actually might be. It absolutely could be a Costco shirt. I have absolutely no idea. Okay, I don't really dress myself. I haven't for a year. So let's uh let's start it and let's kind of get into it a little bit here as we get going uh this afternoon. By the way, it is afternoon. I am an hour past. I'm literally an hour past Eastern time. I can't even stay up to see like Thursday night football. It's like starts at like 9:30. It's not even worth it anymore to me. Markets today, markets today just all over the place. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, and yet they're massively unchanged right now. It's been a long day of trade and it has only just begun, still 2 hours left. So cool. We're from all over the place. Nice. Okay. No sound. I love the no sound one there. Yeah, couldn't help you much because there is sound. Um yeah, some wild rotations playing out. So without further ado, I'm gonna jump right into this, and we'll be introducing Tony Rago here momentarily. But yeah, it looks like we've got everybody here. Give everybody a minute to get situated. Okay, everybody is situated. Good. Let's do this. All right. Today we're going to be talking about the Matrix Key. Again, I'm Don Kaufman. I'm going to be joined momentarily by none other than Tony Rago. This is a risk disclosure. Okay, it's we're not financial advisors nor broker dealer, and I always throw that up there because many of us, including myself, I used to hold every license in the brokerage business. I was market making before that, so I've been on the side of market making. I've been on the side of the brokerage business, and obviously now I'm on the side of well, living on an island doesn't suck. All right, copyright disclaimer. It's mine. This is all mine. If you need to get a hold of me after today, hit me right here, support at theotrade.com. Just put Don or Tony for that matter in the subject. It'll come right to us. And that's it's important. I want you guys to know that you guys, of course, after today's session can reach out to us for any number of things. So we're readily available via email. I'm going to give you just the quick nickel tour. This is predominantly Tony Rago that's going to be talking about the Matrix Key specifically today, but I wanted to give you a little bit more of a formal introduction of Tony momentarily, but some background. Some of us are maybe brand new. They have no idea what a Theo trade even is. So I'll give you a little background of kind of where I was before Theo trade and then a little bit about Theo trade. So again, my name is Don Kaufman, involved in this business. Mine, I grew up in it. I grew up in that kind of trading world. I don't think too many people really have, it's a pretty unique background. I grew up, had families that were market makers. I had an uncle that owned over 500 seats on exchanges worldwide. The firm that he built was called O'Connor and Associates. He sold it to the Swiss bank in 1992. So that firm started in the 1970s, ran until 1992. It was the driving force behind, UBS for many, many years. So it interested me in the markets. And in the late 90s, 3 weeks out of college, I ended up in Chicago. 3 weeks out of college, I went from ramen noodles to trading in Chicago. It was only about 18 months after I was in Chicago, I got approached by a startup gentleman by the name of Tom Sosnoff. I was coming out of the Chicago Board Options Exchange. I was on the escalator, and this guy just approaches me, and I knew who he was. I mean, Sosnoff's a pretty big trader down in the OEX pit. Comes up to me, goes, "We're leaving the floor. We're starting a brokerage firm. We want you to come with us." Well, that brokerage firm just turns out it was Think or Swim. So I was very early Thinkorswim. I contracted with Thinkorswim before Thinkorswim was Thinkorswim. When I officially came on in 2001, I was one of the very first people there. And, because of that, did extremely well because, Thinkorswim went on to, I was on the executive team there and we took the company public in 2007. And I think most people here are probably familiar with Thinkorswim. I was there when TD Ameritrade bought us in 2009. I took an executive role at TD Ameritrade. I had a 5-year lockup clause. And during that 5-year period of time, we had a fairly large organization, ran what was called the Traders Group, which included everything from Thinkorswim to education of TD Ameritrade. It's a pretty wide spectrum. And a lot of what you hear today comes from literally having watched order flow for the better part of 15 years. You have to recognize the most insightful aspect of working at Thinkorswim and TD Ameritrade, and this is before Charles Schwab bought TD Ameritrade, the most insightful aspect of the entire thing, I got to see everything that you did, okay? Meaning that, if there's a thing I'm an expert in, yeah, I made markets, but that was all the way back in like the 90s, early 2000s, right? I'm an expert in order flow, which means I know you better than you know you. You got to watch for 15 years behind the screens of every trade that was ever routed through the Thinkorswim pipes. And we didn't just watch the trades, we studied them, okay, upwards and downs. And that really gave us this tremendous advantage. So in 2015, when my lockup clause was out, I exited. Of course, TD Ameritrade, and brought with me pretty much the whole education team from TD Ameritrade, including Blake Young and Brandon Chapman, Jeff Bierman. Okay, these are just a couple of the names that are here at TheoTrade. And you're like, if you recognize some of the names, some people will remember I've worked with the same crew for like 15 to 20 years. And along the way, picked up, which I'll introduce momentarily, Tony Rago. Okay, Tony, though, has been with us now for 10 years. So we launched TheoTrade in 2016. We're going to have our 10-year anniversary coming up this January. Literally, we launched to the public January of 2016. So we're turning 10 right now. I'm one of the co-founders here of TheoTrade. As I said, this team has been together for a lot more than just the TheoTrade years. So I wanted to give that kind of the nickel tour there of kind of the background. So I'm going to clear something up about today specifically, and that is involving Tony Rago. So before I go any further, okay, today is not about the golden setup. Some of you may know Tony Rago. Some of you know what the golden setup happens to be. Some of you are brand new and have no idea what a Tony Rago or a golden setup even are. Fantastic. Okay. Yes, the golden setup is what Tony's known for. Okay. But he's about to show you today. Okay. It's completely different. And it's, we're always like literally pushing the envelope. And there's always going to be things that you haven't seen. And that's exactly what we are implying for today. Okay, what you're about to see, this hasn't been shared publicly. Okay, you're going to see some of it today. For the first time, okay, Tony's unveiling a brand new tool. So he's building tools. And literally, this is just recently finished building. Now, it's a master key for the futures markets, right? He calls it the matrix key. All right. It's again kind of a master key to the futures markets. So this is custom built tech, okay, to help him see, okay, when to stay in the trade, okay, when to stand down. And you're going to see exactly what it's used for here momentarily. Okay. It's the tool that I think not only he, but many of us wish that we had when we were kind of starting out, because it's an on-off switch for the trade. Okay. And now it's a reality. So it matters simply because markets are more machine driven, algorithmic driven, okay, they've ever been before. So a single setup, okay, isn't enough anymore. You're going to need something that acts like, if you will, Google Maps for futures markets, a clear route through some of the chaos. All right. But first, you're going to just have to see that map, okay? Before you can understand this matrix key and what it unlocks, okay, you're going to see the structure, okay, that Tony has found inside of the NQ, a structure built from 10 high probability setups, okay, that some of you, you've seen a few of them, but most of you have never seen these before. So Tony's going to go through setups, but he's also going to go through the matrix key, specifically a piece of technology, okay, designed to make everything far more efficient, a go, no go. So 10 hidden setups, one ticker, and a whole new playbook. So over the past 24 months, okay, he's been decoding these setups through the NQ. Okay. You got high probability setups, 10 of them. Okay. And again, most of the traders here are not even going to know they exist. This is the Matrix NQ, and it really changes everything. So I'm going to introduce Tony Rago. Tony, most of the time I come through and I want to read a bio. Look, we've known each other like far too long for me to actually read this over here. So the first thing I'd like to say is, first of all, Tony had a lot of experience before, obviously, even coming here to TheoTrade. I tracked Tony down through a couple of friends of mine. So we knew of Tony, okay? We had never met prior to you working at TheoTrade, but we knew of Tony. We knew of Tony literally before I even left TD Ameritrade. So certain traders always on the radar screen, certain traders' names always came up. Your name came up quite a bit. So ironically, Tony was vetted. Like, I knew I was leaving TD Ameritrade. We were like vetting people before we even left. And I say we because there were a couple of us. Like, we knew we were getting out of there, and we were vetting. And Tony happened to be one of the traders that we discussed. We had a couple of friends in common. And away we go. When we first met, the Nasdaq was trading at 4,400. Listen to that. The Nasdaq, when we first met, and his first couple of trades here at TheoTrade, okay, which is like, 10 years ago, whatever, it was at 4,400, man.
It
Okay.
was.
How did we get here? By the way, this, as I said, who's Tony? He built the golden setup. The golden setup, okay, is a specific trading setup that we've talked about just extensively here at TheoTrade, that a lot of clients of TheoTrade have done extraordinarily well with golden setup. This goes obviously a lot deeper, but there's a lot more to Tony than just NQ and one single setup, and that's exactly what we're going to bridge our way into over here. Tony has coached literally thousands of clientele, specifically here at TheoTrade. Tony, I'm going to turn it over to you. Let's get started. Let's
All
get
right.
into some setups. Let's get into the matrix key.
I appreciate it. I can't believe it's been 10 years.
I know
That's
you're old.
wild.
You're old.
I am old.
I
All
woke
right.
up. I was old too. It was terrible.
Well,
It's
let's
good.
get into it, everybody. Glad to see everybody in here. We're going to get right down into this, starting off with why. And as Don said, this isn't about the golden setup, which is a singular setup. This is about a system. Okay. Most people trade one setup and pray that it fits in today's market. The NQ has structure, it moves in cycles, it has inflection points. I didn't build a new indicator. I cracked the way that the NQ moves across 10 plus different conditions. Okay. So why the NQ though? NQ is a buzzword, NASDAQ 100, but the NQ is a buzzword lately. It is where the largest tech companies on the planet trade, right? So your Nvidia, your Apple, Microsoft, etc. This is where all of tech plays. And we all have heard of the Magnificent Seven. So by trading the NASDAQ, right, via the NQ, you're trading the entire Mag 7, if you will, under one ticker. So the NQ, which I'm going to reference throughout this presentation, is the futures contract for the NASDAQ 100. Okay, so again, this is a way for us to trade all of those stocks, the 7, under one ticker. I feel that futures are the perfect vehicle for generating daily income because they're fast and they're liquid. You don't have a problem getting in and out of them. Okay. Now the NQ is still the playground because you do not need to trade every one of those individual stocks, right? You only need one ticker and one chart with, and as long as this thing has rhythm and leverage, you can find your setups. So the NQ is liquid, it's volatile, it's very readable as long as you know where to look. Okay. The matrix NQ only works because I've spent years mastering just one chart. So one ticker and one chart is all you need. And what we're going to talk about today, what you're going to discover is beneath the surface, beyond basic indicators. I've decoded 10 matrix setups that I use to read structure in real time, and why I built this brand new matrix key to turn that structure into a usable roadmap for traders like you. even if you haven't traded futures. Okay. What this means is we're not going to be tied to our monitor all day. We're not going to need to track a ton of different stocks and different movements throughout the day. We do not need a lot of money to get started, and we'll get into that as well. I'm going to talk about how the matrix NQ was discovered. It started in the pits at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, where I discovered who I would call my Morpheus, the person that based under his wing. Okay. I discovered that there was a hidden structure that price in the ES followed. Now, I haven't defined what the ES is yet. Some of you might know what that is. Let me take 2 seconds to do that. The ES is basically NQ's counterpart. The ES is the S&P 500 futures contract. So you might see me reference ES from this point. That's what that is. Okay, so they were the two biggest pits at the Chicago Merc, and we're going to talk about ES a little bit too as well. Okay, so I could see these moves happening in the ES, but I really didn't know why they were happening. And I became obsessed. I had to figure this out. This became my quest to unlock the code of the structure, excuse me, to figure out how price moves in the ES. Okay. And once I unlocked this, once I had my aha moment and figured this out, something amazing happened. I applied it to the NQ and bam, it happens faster, even more clean and better, more reliable than on the ES. And I have my theories as to why it works this way, but you're going to see something here in a second. Okay. Now, this basically enabled me to kind of almost predict what was about to happen, right? To almost see around corners like we're in the matrix. So, do you guys want to see around corners? We're going to get into it. This is going to be fun. So, what is the matrix NQ? I'm going to go a little deeper here. It's organized around something that I call the nuclear codes. Okay, it's something that I've developed. It is the heartbeat of the internal pricing algo in the NQ. This is the foundation of everything that I've taught to countless students that have been with me here at TheoTrade, and all of this is centered around these codes. We're going to talk about the hidden playbook, which is 10 plus NQ setups that I've decoded, each one with its own logic, its own trigger, and its own purpose. Together, they form an entire tactical map of the NQ. These codes help us see into the future, basically to see around corners, to see where a potential profit is. Yeah, I see some of you in the chat. Some of you have been through this process with me already. So we're going to talk about 10 different setups. We're going to talk about a few of them today. I'm going to literally drill down into these and decode these for you on screen. Okay. We're going to talk about the gateway, the delta surge. Okay. And we're going to talk about the fade cloak today. But there are 10 total setups that I teach in the NQ matrix, or the matrix NQ. So we've got the gateway, the delta surge, the echo pulse, the bias flip, the reversal stack, Neo's edge, okay, slingshot, the pressure gate, the ghost level, and of course the fade cloak. So we're going to talk about a few of those. Okay, before we get into that, and Don alluded to the golden setup. Some of you don't know who I am, have never met me, have never heard me present anything or talk about the NASDAQ, the NQ. So we're going to look at the golden setup here, and I'm going to walk you through the golden setup. So if you're a futures trader, okay, I'm going to walk you through this and show you exactly how it works. If you're a futures trader, you're going to walk away with the knowledge of being able to trade this today, okay? And it has set up multiple times today. So very, very quickly, when I talk about roadmaps, when I talk about decoding something, I've created this map, okay? And I've created the map based on what I call inflection points, okay? So you're going to work with me here. We're going to focus on a couple key levels here, all right? This just happens to be on the chart that you see right here is the 21,650. So any level that ends in a 5-0 is what's called an inflection point. Okay, that's one of them. the one that is directly related to this particular setup. Okay. And again, just as a little background, we launched the Golden setup, what, 18 months ago, going on 2 years ago. And I don't know, well over 2,000 students
At least, at least
have
two.
participated in the
Yep,
Golden setup.
absolutely. And
Now,
it's just over 2000, in fact.
yeah, a little background on why the Golden setup kind of materialized. And futures markets can kind of be a little elusive. People don't really know a lot about futures markets. You got to have to kind of want to learn. And so what I want to do is create an entree for someone that's never traded futures to literally just show them a very, very simple way to trade futures and to get results very quickly. Because once you get results, just like anything else, you become kind of obsessed or addicted to it and you start drilling down and you want to learn more. But like we said earlier, today's markets are changing. You need more than one setup. But let's talk about the Golden setup real quick. So the Golden setup, the criteria for this particular setup, and again, remember, it doesn't matter where we are in terms of price right now. Any level that ends in a 5-0 is where this thing starts to set up. So as price descends, as price comes down, that is my Golden setup level. And again, any level that ends in 26. This particular one is 21,626. Okay. We're obviously in the 25,000s. You can go see all of the ones in the 25,000s. They work the same. Okay. All-time highs, it doesn't matter. This is how it works. When we come from the 50, we buy two contracts at this level, the 26. Okay. We buy two futures contracts at 26, and we basically let a bracket, or we kind of automated this execution process that take over. We have our profit points, which I'm going to show you in a second here. But what we're looking for is simply price to react off of this level, the 26, going back to the 50. That's the Golden setup. You can see how this sets up in multiple times a day. This is set up 4 times in a matter of, whoops, sorry about that, in a matter of an hour.
Might be setting up right now.
It might be setting up right now. I'm sure every time we do one of these, it
I
sets
know
up.
it really does. By the way, I want to interject for just a brief moment over here, because for those of you that are new, when we start talking about price and so forth, we're like, oh, it's the 26, oh, it's the 50. So what that really amounts to is 21,650. 21,626. So when he's talking about it, it's a repeatable price level, okay, that provides effective entrance for a setup. And when he says buying two contracts, he's literally buying two, okay, of this product. Now, again, I know people are always worried about day trading margin requirements. There aren't any. There are no day trading margin requirements here. They're worried about how much capital. You can do this with a few $100s in your account because there's a micro of this product. So all the things that inhibit people, things that get in people's way, okay, try to push aside right now. More people, okay, have learned to successfully trade futures through this Golden setup than any other setup, bar none, okay, by far and away. And it's like, I'm very adamant that the Golden setup is this, it is your ticket. You're going to trade in futures markets. This is your ticket. You start here, okay, and we develop you. And it's such a critical resource to people, but they get lost in a lot of the, the terminology and so forth, and don't. 21,626 ain't that bad. And you're buying two contracts at that level. Continue, Tony.
Okay, appreciate it. And yes, the simple is the key, right? And as Don talked about, again, this setup in and of itself makes it a very easy or a very simple entree for traders to start trading futures. Don mentioned something called the micros. That makes it even more accessible to everybody, right? And I feel like I don't care what you trade. I think that everybody should have some component in their investment strategy where they're trading futures, whether it's hedging, whether it's day trading, it doesn't matter. And the 26, the Golden setup rather, is a perfect entree for that. So just looking at a couple of these, okay? And again, what I like to do, I mentioned that I buy two contracts. And what I like to do is I like to take profit on one of those contracts at another key level, Okay. And that key level is again, it's built into the execution part of the trade, which I teach every aspect of this. So we will take profit in our first, this is the highest probability of the trade that when price comes down to this 26. So again, this is the 21,550 right here, okay? Down to the 21,526. Look at the way price reacts. It is not uncommon for us to see the 26, it happened this week, be the low of the day. And it just simply never comes back. I mean, I get emails from people that say, I bought 26 and I took it home. I didn't let it go. I'm up 300 points on the trade. Because if you know the NASDAQ, it moves. Okay. But this is how we kind of do our setups here in terms of two contracts. We split it up. Now, the reason that I take profit here is because that pays for the setup. It pays for the trade. You can no longer lose money based on my methodology. When you buy two contracts here and you sell one of them here at the 33, you can no longer lose money. It's a winning trade. Even if price comes back down to your entry point, you're just simply out of the trade. However, we hold on to the trade. Again, the premise of this is coming from the 50. So this is the 50 right here, down to the 26, and then retracing back to the 50. So coming down from the inflection point to the 26, back to the 50. And I don't want to labor this. Again, this isn't about the golden setup, but a lot of folks don't know who I am. So it's just, this is
I
the way that
yeah,
I trade.
I like to always mention there's two really critical facets of this for people that are not familiar with NQ or familiar with Tony or even trading NASDAQ at all. Um, Structure and getting risk out. And most of this is actually accomplished by using, okay, an order type where when we're buying, it's already like the sell is in there. It's a bracketed order, right? So it's selling one here and selling one there. And, everybody gets, again, they get caught up in some of the finite details of this. We just wanted to briefly go over this golden setup because it is and has been the bread and butter of what we've done here with Tony Rago, in futures for years now. And as I said, thousands of people have actually gone through this. It's like this is the ticket, into the NQ. However, I think Tony, you got a lot more.
Absolutely. All right. And as Don said, we're about to get into some of the Matrix NQ setups right now, where I'm going to give you some things. Okay. This might kind of fly over the tops of some folks' heads, but work with me here. Okay. If you are an NQ trader already, which I know there are several, you're going to understand this. Okay. So I'm here to tell you that it gets even better than just the golden setup. All right. So we had a list of setups that we talked about or that I introduced. We're going to decode a couple of them right now. Okay, so this is the Delta Surge, and this is simply for my NASDAQians that are out there. This is buying the 56, right? Which is one of the go-to setups in my Matrix NQ, meaning we will try this trade based on the parameters and criteria when it sets up. And when we do that, okay, so we're doing the same exact thing here. Okay, we're entering on this level. We're buying two contracts. Okay, so instead of 26, this is 56. And I'm not trying to confuse anybody, but we're doing this for this reason. We are looking for price to react off of this, very similar to the 26. We're looking for price to react off of this. And of course, we're buying two contracts. So what does that mean? We have to take risk out of the trade. We're going to sell one contract. Now, as you are watching this develop while you're in the trade, sometimes trades go against you, meaning they come, you're long here and then they're there, at 52 and you're like, oh boy, what's going to happen now? That's where this comes in. I'm giving you this. This is one of my nuclear codes. So when I buy the 56, the immediate instance, pawn getting filled on that trade, I look for price to test the 22,000, in this case, 58.75. When it does that, I kind of breathe a sigh of relief. Why? Because again, remember, we're talking about seeing around corners. I know that this thing is going to reach up right here towards the 62 level. And guess what I'm going to do when it does that? I'm going to sell one contract and I'm going to be in a profitable trade. I can no longer lose money,
I
right?
like that. I really like the code. It's like kicking a like a field goal, and the second you actually kick the ball, you're like, it's in. You don't even have to look. It's in.
Exactly. And
It's
I
and
mean,
what's
look, this is trading. And when you're trading something fast, we're all human. We're like, whew. It's always like that, right? No matter what. I do everything I can to remove emotion from trades, including this right here. So I'm just simply looking for that particular level. Okay. Now I know I'm going to get risk out of the trade. Now there's a second code that I start to look for. And all this is, by the way, is deciphering a move from the 56 level to the 66 level. And so basically, on paper, if we were to frame this setup out, we are risking 6 to make 10. So the risk reward is fantastic. This makes it even better. When we see our code fire, is what I call it, we know we're going to get risk out of the trade. We know we're going to get ourselves into a point of not losing money, right? Even if it comes back and scratches us out, takes us out of the trade at even, we call that a scratch. We're out of the trade for the commission that we were in it. But here is the second code as price is developing. And in the NQ, this happens very, very quickly. This is the other code that I look for. So when price peaks over this level right here, this level is the 62. When it peaks over that level and I see this level, I know that my final profit target of plus 10 is going to get taken out right there, right? And so I know this sounds a little weird, right? And it is weird, but that's what's cool about it. It is literally, I mean, we are getting super granular by looking at these levels hit. And
it? This
what
is a
I
lot.
teach every
This
what's
is a
that?
lot for like the first. This is definitely a lot for
It
like
is.
people first time through. I don't mind though because I keep thinking like structure and risk out, structure and risk out. Like you guys have to understand, the levels may sound like a foreign language to some of you at this point. That vocabulary though, of when he says like a nuclear code, code number one of 22, 5875, what that basically is, it's a marker knowing that he's going to be able to take his risk out of the trade. And it's one of the most critical unsung heroes of this particular setup over here, the Delta Surge, is effectively knowing, okay, that price is already through that level. We're going, we're going for it. And it's if you will, it's kind of relief signal at that particular point. But again, we get so hung up on like, does price have to come from below? Absolutely. Let's not get stuck in like some of the minutia of it, but you want to be forward looking. It's got structure. Okay. And all of these levels, like it seems like you're going to be clicking around like crazy. You're not. Once you actually understand some of the codes and understand the depth here, okay, you're in and out of the trade with it's a click away. Like you click and that is it. Okay. All the other price levels are already set up.
Right. And so as Don was talking about structure, okay, we can kind of distill this down into trading as a whole, right? We have a setup. It's one thing for me to see this stuff happening. It's another to wrap a methodology around it. And that's what I teach in the Matrix NQ, a complete methodology by which every trade is executed with the absolute top of mind being risk, right? I want to be able to get risk out of the trade. So I wanted my absolute ironclad way of saying, okay, what if I keep seeing what's happening on the screen? How does it do it? How is it doing that? And that's what I've come up with here. Okay. So this is the gateway, very similar to Delta Surge. Okay. But it's just a different level. It's the 21,806. And of course, this is any '06 that you see on the screen. Guess what? When we see price come down, okay, price is coming down into this level, just like any other like support level. Right? If you have identified a level of support, what do you anticipate price doing when it gets there? Holding, right? We simply know how this thing works. So we're actually sitting here with a catcher's mitt waiting to buy our two contracts right here. Whoops. Right? We're going to buy our two contracts right here. So just like the 56, immediately upon getting filled, I train my eye to the order flow and I look for the 26,808.75. I'm sure someone had a little bit of a light bulb moment right there. It's absolutely the same, right? Because if it were different for every level, you would never be able to learn it. It's very simple. I know it's a lot for brand new people, but this is the matrix. So we're kind of getting a little down into it right here. So when I see this 0875, it tells me one thing. I'm going to get risk out of this trade, or I'm going to get myself into a position where I can no longer lose money, right? So the risk is or the trade is basically going to pay for itself. So if this is support, I anticipate this being some resistance, but this code tells me we're going right there. So if I'm selling one of the contracts as we get there, risk is out of the trade. I can no longer lose money. I can sit and watch price develop. I can pick a target, which, by the way, in the Matrix NQ, I teach all of this stuff in terms of targets and why we do have to pick targets in the NQ. The NQ is a special contract for sure. But I just look for this stuff. And so when I'm with my students and I'm like, hey, we have risk out of the trade. What do we need to see next? And my students always say, we need to see that. We need to see the 81475. And we know that we're going to reach up to the next level on the chart, right? And a lot of traders will use my charts just like this. Support, resistance. Now, let me talk about something real quick because we really haven't defined this. Why would we even do this? Okay. Obviously, we're doing this to make money, right? We're doing this. We're not doing this for fun. We're doing this to make money. So if I know that we have a high likelihood or a high probability of doing that, I want to exploit that in the spirit of making money, right? And so we can do this with the NQ or, as Don talked about earlier, the micro NQ. So let me just define real quick as to the money that the NQ how the NQ is structured from a monetary standpoint. So every 1 point in the NQ, a lot of you do know this, but is $20. Okay. So why would I be, so adamant about trying to figure this stuff out? Because a move from here to here equals about, 220 bucks per contract. Per contract. There are traders that have come through my courses, that have come through the Matrix NQ, that are trading more than 2 contracts, right? I don't think you need to, but my point is that's the driver behind this, you guys. Is the driver behind this is to figure out why the NQ is doing what it's doing. So I'm going to talk through this one more time. Just like the 26, you're going to find a lot of continuity within all of my setups, a lot of consistency across the board. Simplicity is absolutely key. Okay. And if you're brand new to futures trading, you're like, there's nothing simple about this. It is. I assure you, it is very simple. And when you start to kind of eat, sleep, and breathe this thing, you will get to know that this is a very simple way to look at trading. Okay. And by the way, it should be noted that my levels, okay, the levels that you see on the screen, each one of these gold levels, we talked about starting this with the NQ or the NASDAQ being in the 4,000s. My levels, knock on wood, have not changed since then. They have not changed since I developed them. All the way to these new all-time highs in the 26,000s. It all works the same way. It's never changed. Right? So by learning it here, you don't have to learn just about the 806. You can learn about all of the 06s. Okay, so one more time. As price comes in, we are expecting this to be support. We buy our contracts, 2 contracts. I feel like you need at least 2. We look for the code to fire. When we do, we know we're going to get risk out of the trade. We know we're going to get some profit out of the trade, right? And that puts us in a position where, some of you guys are trend traders. Some of you guys are swing traders. We're in a position now where we can't lose money. We have a position on and we can hold it. Okay. Or we can pick a target that fulfills what we're looking for out of the market that day from a money standpoint and then be done with it. Okay. And so there's probably quite a few questions, Don, in the chat, but I'm going to keep rolling if that's all right.
Go.
All right. So the next one that we're going to talk about, and this one is a short, This is one that sets up quite often. If you are a NASDAQ trader, you're an NQ trader, this is one to absolutely have on your radar. It's called the fade cloak. And this is when we talk about fading the markets, when a market's going up and we take the other side of the market, that's what a fade is. This is talking about in that same instance of the '06 being support, right? The level, when we come down to it, we're looking for this level to be resistance, right? I'm just going to say resist. We're looking for that to be resistance. So just like the other trades, okay? Now you're getting a nuclear code on the way up and now on the way down. Works very, very similar. We sell two contracts here. Okay, so this is taking the opposite side of a long. This is called shorting the market. So we're selling two contracts at 88. Okay, so in the same instance, when I get involved in the trade, when the trade is executed, whether I hear a sound or whatever platform you're using, what do? I look for my code to fire. I'm looking for 85.25. Okay. When I see that, I know that I have an extremely high probability of getting risk out of the trade, getting paid, right? Sometimes, look, that's enough for some traders out there to just take all profit when it gets to the 83 in this case, right? As it comes down to this level here, right? So remember, again, very simple. Price comes up here as resistance, falls to this level based on this code right here. We exploit that move by making money. Bottom line.
Let
If
me
we want,
refresh everybody for just a second on this one. One of the things that's often missed about, the fade. The fade cloak is a entrance on the short side, meaning that again, we are looking for a down move. And I want to make that really, really clear because very often when we would explain something for the very first time, we always talk about like, I'm buying here, I'm buying here. We're actually selling to open in this particular position. It's a critical differentiating factor. Some people just don't trade from the short side, but you have to look at both sides of the marketplace, and I can't stress that enough. The other aspect I wanted to bring up here for just a moment, Tony, is I know you're talking about the NQ and 20 points. I am a huge advocate of the micro NQ, the MNQ, which is for all argument's sake, it's a smaller version of it. You make or lose $2 per point. And it's also the incredible training ground. What a lot of people do not know is that the micro NQ now trades more contracts by far than any other product at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. And it's the CME group is phenomenal. This is a futures contract. That micro NQ, okay. I mean, Tony literally helped put that thing on the map, meaning that the contract itself, the micro NQ, we're huge advocates of it. We have supported the CME group since day one when they launched it because, if you want to get involved in this and you're not ready to have the commitment of the full contract of NQ, what better training ground? There isn't one. This ain't paper trading. You're not going to learn anything in paper trading. Tiger Woods is not going to read anything, in a book that's going to tell him how to, swing a golf club any better. You got to go out there and you got to execute. And that micro NQ, that's one of the reasons I feel so strongly about it. For those of you that have never shorted, I thought this is a perfect time to actually bring it up because you haven't been on the short side of trades. Like you might be missing out. It's again, this marketplace is Mr. Toad's wild ride. Why take setup on one side of it when you can take setups on both sides?
absolutely. And the micros are an absolute gift. They really are. And it's wild that the micro NQ is the leading volume producer for all of the products. It's crazy. It is
Yeah, not
absolutely
even
crazy.
not even ES is anywhere near. Not even ES. And everybody knows that, oh, the S&P futures, most prolific contract ever traded. Yeah, well, guess what? Your micro NQ is bigger. The volume is phenomenal on that. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And
Yep.
look, I mean, it comes down to risk. We're risk managers on the outset, bottom line. And you can just simply manage risk mostly from an emotional standpoint on the micros a lot better than you can on the bigger contracts. So it's absolutely, Don hit it nail on the head. It is a training ground. So as you come in and join me in the Matrix NQ, I'm going to teach you all of this, and I fully expect you, especially if you're a brand new trader, to start on the micros. There's no reason to jump right into the NQ right away. Okay, but we'll get into that as you guys get signed up. Okay, so just real quick, it's on your screen. Make a note of it if you are a futures trader. As price comes into the 88, we look for that code right there. And that code is going to lead us to the first part of the trade, and that is getting risk out of the trade. Okay. Now, on to some good stuff. So, the real power is being able to see this stuff. The golden setup, very powerful, no doubt, but it's just one entry point. Okay. Matrix NQ lets you see everything that comes before it, after it, and around it. It's like upgrading from checkers to chess. All right. And something potentially beyond that. I mean, remember, we're trying to kind of see around corners here, right? So you've seen the matrix, but something is missing. We've got the hidden playbook of 10 plus high probability setups. They each have their own logic, timing, and purpose. Okay. But there's still one question. How would I navigate this in real time? And some of you guys that know me, you guys are going to be blown away, I think. Okay, so the problem with just pure raw setups is even the most powerful setups can feel overwhelming. Again, in fast, noisy markets, that's our markets that we have today. They are very fast, very volatile. You're still left deciding, okay, what setup is active now? When is it safe to actually pull the trigger? Okay, you don't want to trade more. We want to trade smarter with more clarity and confidence. Okay. So my next evolution, something that I've put together here after decoding the nuclear codes in our 10 setups, I basically asked myself if I could give traders a tool that I never had, what would it be? And so that question that's been nagging at me sparked the creation of something completely new. And especially if you've known me for any amount of time, something that I've dreamed about pulling or putting together, but not pulling the trigger on until now. Okay. This is a culmination over all of my trading career. It's built on everything that I've learned from the pits. I'm putting this into action. I've refined this through years of studying flow, rhythm, and structure. This is designed to give traders a roadmap, and I really wish this existed when I got started, okay, especially in these markets. So this is going to be essentially, and Don alluded to it earlier, the Google Maps. Like this is your GPS for the Nasdaq. Okay. And we can look at the Nasdaq and we don't know where to start a lot of times, the NQ. So most traders try to navigate futures markets completely blind. They might see something on Twitter and like, oh, I'm going to do that. Well, I've built a way to change that, a tool that literally acts like Google Maps for the futures markets. Okay. And I call it the matrix key. And I'm gonna show you some screenshots of this. This is what is inside the NQ matrix when you guys sign up. Okay. What is it? It is a brand new custom indicator for the NQ futures. I programmed this around the nuclear codes and the matrix setups. I built this to show you in real time how the markets are aligning, right, in your favor and where we're going to find our trades. So this is how it helps you trade. It filters out low quality or maybe trades. It zeroes in on trades that have the strongest probability. It helps you stay in trades longer. That's what we all want to do, right? It helps us get out of bad trades earlier or avoid them altogether. It turns the matrix from information to execution clarity, and I'm going to show you how it works here in just a second. Okay, you guys ready? Some of you guys are like, what the heck is he talking about? I never talk about indicators. Here it is. Here it is attached to the golden setup. Okay, so this is, in my opinion, this is a level dashboard of structure and flow. Okay, so this, and Don, I'm going to walk you through this because you've only taken a sneak peek at it. So this is our golden setup, our tried and true setup that we take. Okay, and so I'm going to talk about a couple things over the next couple slides that, again, might be some new words that you've never heard, new terminology that you've never heard. I'm going to talk about liquidity sweeps, which is it's becoming more and more prevalent in today's language, in today's setups, or in today's markets, I should say. This has a liquidity sweep detection part of it. This tells us when there was what's called a liquidity sweep. And simply, I don't want to get too granular with that. It just simply means that this is where the liquidity is. Once that has been exploited, you will typically see this produced, right? And then on the other side of it as well. This aligns with the golden setup. So again, this is not where we just have a new indicator and it's like, all right, go have at it. This complements what we're already doing. This helps us stay in a trade longer. So if you look right here, the majority of my traders that utilize my strategies, we would buy this 26, we would make our profit here, we would get taken out of the trade there. Remember, we have risk out, and then if price comes back, we're out of the trade even, but we've walked away with a net profitable trade. This particular setup gave us a liquidity sweep detection to tell us to go again, buy it again. And this right down here, and again, I'm not going to get too techie with you guys, but this gives me an indication of compression in the tape. And you can see that that's what this is. So it could go either way. Don't get me wrong. Okay. This does not say that, it's just going to go 100 points straight up from here. This just simply says that it's compressing for the next move. It could have done that. But guess what? We have risk out of the trade, so we don't care. We're just simply sitting back and watching it. This happened to release, and it went up 100 points. Pretty cool, right? And then look, all this was, like, if you really want to get weird about it, all this was is this came down, grabbed the liquidity here, that gave it what it needed to make this particular move. Now, again, we're not trying to buy this and sell this. The meat of the move is inside here, right? And so what I will be teaching you guys in the matrix NQ is where our targets are within this process. Some traders will hold it to that, okay? And that's what's so cool about this indicator is it gives you that idea to go again, right? And then coupled with my methodology, getting risk out of the trade, all we do is simply let the setup develop further from there. We have risk out. Nothing can happen beyond that point.
I
Okay.
love actually how it was stated in chat. It's a visual indicator, builds the trade entry confidence. I mean, I think that it was just Andrew in chat just stated it. That's exactly, like how I would describe it. It's finally for these particular setups, in this case, the golden setup, and we're not singling out just the golden setup here in a moment. We're going to go a little deeper, but that's exactly what it amounts to. It is a visual indication for the first time. It's not just we hit 26. Let's do this. It's a visual indication, which in large part removes a tremendous amount of the guesswork. Are we coming down to 26? Should I actually get the order routed now? When it shows, fire at will, sir. That's effectively where we're headed with this, because as you can see, we're talking about 10 different setups that have effective and high probability in here. So to kind of distill that down, to boil it down, it's a visual setup. And it's the first time that we've actually been able to build tech specifically for that visual setup. And building compression in here and down below, it's a dash on the screen. It's actually it's a compression. And that compression over there can make the trade that much more effective.
Absolutely. I mean, it just gets you on the edge of your seat waiting for what's about to happen. So we'll talk about again, this is what I set out to build was a dashboard, right? This gives us an indication of the trend. This gives us an indication. I actually have a no trade zone on this, but we're not going to get too deep into that. Let's talk about a couple other setups here. So this is the gateway setup, the setup that we talked about earlier. Okay. A lot of traders, excuse me, a lot of traders based on this green candle right here, they have missed the move, right? Or even worse, I would say is, this is I haven't reinvented anything. This is just an EMA cloud here. So traders will enter here, right? And they may either hold the trade all the way back here or get stopped out in the pullback. Traders that are part of the matrix NQ, no, we're waiting for this level to hit. This is the 25,706. So when this level hits, right, buyers were detected right here. We could have very well just missed the trade, and that's okay too. We're not going to catch every single trade, but this gives us an indication, hey, selling is subsiding. This might set up again for us. And this is one of my setups right here from the '06. And there's other characteristics that are happening inside of these bars that most of you know as to how this sets up. And then boom, right into a target of ours, right? And again, we don't have to buy here, sell here. We can do what we need to do in the meat of the move if we want. But this is a specific level that we would be targeting, right? This particular level is the 750. So it goes from the 706 to the 750. And basically, this gave us an indication right here. So everybody that's like, oh man, you're not going to see that. It's going to give this after the move has already happened. No, this is a combination of several things. This gets your radar up. The spidey senses are tingling, right? I need to be heads up. Something might be setting up. And again, this flows with everything else that I'm teaching you. This is, and it's a great way to put it, a visual indicator. I've said many times in here in these in Theo Trade chat rooms that I'm a very visual trader. Most of you know that. If you can't tell that by now, I don't know what to say. So this is how this starts to set up, right? Again, why are we doing this? We're not doing it for fun. We're doing it to try to navigate these markets, and this is just another tool for us to do that, okay? And again, we might have missed this trade. We might have missed it, but we didn't. And this gave us the idea that a long trade was setting up because buyers were detected, right? And again, so going back to the nuclear codes, we would still engage those upon entry. That's all still part of the process. This again, look, this is just another thing that we're bolting on to what already exists, what thousands of students have been through, okay? This is the delta surge. This sets up the same way. Most of you that are looking at this chart, what does this look like? This looks like a trending market to me, right? So naturally, I'm going to be buying the pullbacks into the cloud, right? All of that stuff. This is a very specific setup that I teach. This just supported the validity of the setup itself, right? And so once we're involved on our key level, because I only enter on specific levels, that's what we do. We ride the cloud right up into whatever target that we're looking for, right? And again, remember, one thing that you're going to learn about the NQ when you guys join me in this, one thing that you're going to learn is that the NQ loves to do this, and it loves to come right back to your entry. That's why it's a key in creating and utilizing targets, pulling the money out of the market that we're looking for out of that specific move, and then simply getting ready for the next move or being done for the day, whatever the setup serve, whatever purpose it serves, right? So real quick, you can see down here that buyers are drying up, okay? And this isn't just an oscillator. There's a lot going on in here. Okay, this is where the sweeps are detected. This is basically reading order flow in real time based on a lot of different things. Okay. And then boom. So this just complements what we're already utilizing, right? And I got some really cool stuff coming up. Okay. Here's another one right here. So check this out. I want you guys to understand this. We're looking at this together. Remember that 88? You remember that? That 88 that we talked about, the fade cloak? That's that setup right there. If you just took that trade blind, you knew that based on your nuclear code hitting, you're going to get risk out of the trade. Maybe it hits your target. You guys, this looks like a trending market. So we don't have the luxury of knowing what's going to happen on the other side of this. If we're looking at this on a right hard edge, this looks like it's riding the cloud up, doesn't it? Why does it end right here? Right? This shows me a bearish liquidity sweep. Price went up. It's kind of like a blow off, right? The sweeps are. And then this shows us a sweep. This showed it to us right here. We don't necessarily have to short this. This kind of goes against the grain on a couple of the setup or a couple of the parameters of the setup that I talk about. we can short it here. This is where the cloud flipped, right? If we happen to be in the trade here, we ride it from there. And that's how we're going to get more out of this. You can see buyers are drying up. Sellers are dominating. Buyers are drying up in spite of all these big, bright green candles. This is really cool when you start to see it all happen and play out.
You know what? I want to make a quick mention on that particular front. Like again, people get caught up in like their sweeps. There's a cloud flip, stay in. It's basically for the first time, okay, a definitive and visual indication that coincides with the specific levels. What you guys are actually seeing right now is one piece of the puzzle. This piece of the puzzle right now is a visual indication. What you're not seeing on the same chart, though, if we were to go into it, is literally the buy and sell orders that are associated with, for instance, the 26, like would be in the golden setup. It just coincides with that. So, your trading logic, Tony, hasn't, effectively changed. What has changed in here is a piece of technology, okay, that's actually green lighting these particular setups. And that has been a kind of a big conversation piece over time, internally here at TheoTrade is, can we actually take and convert, what is this trade logic, this structure to get risk out and make it a much more visual interaction for a retail trader to not get caught up in like, terminology like bear sweeps and so forth. Okay. You will understand what these arrows, okay, and the intent of the arrow happens to mean as nothing more than this is your entry point. This is your exit point. Okay. This is the execution, because in the end, every detail here comes down to really one aspect, and that's your ability to execute, okay, upon these specific setups.
Right. And when we see this, right, when we see these types of things set up, again, like if we're on the right hard edge, this looks like it's riding the cloud up, right? It looks like it's just riding it up. Oh, I'm going to get long here. You're getting short. I'm getting long here, right? We are not getting long here. We know that buyers are drying up. That volume and that order flow is dissipating on that side of the tape, right? This is just our normal setup, you guys. This is just selling the 88 from below. Without this, we're just thinking, okay, well, we're going to sell it. It's going to work or it's not, right? This gives us potentially even the gumption to go again if we're in the trade and we only got the first part of the trade out, right? It's going to get kind of cool here in a second. This selling work. This is not just for NQ, you guys. This works on ES and it works on a lot of other things as well. This is an ES. So this is the recent high that we just did the other day, the 69.05, right? Everybody said we're going to new all-time highs from here, 69.05, right? This gave me a clue that, sellers have entered this. The trend could be ending. This is a very nice trending market. Again, if we're on the right edge, we might be thinking, yeah, let's get long 6,900. Let's see if this thing can go to new all-time highs, right? And I'm not saying to short this. That's not what this is saying to you. This is telling you to be patient. This gives you an indication to take your hand off the mouse and stop being so bullish for a second. Again, by the way, these are intraday trades. So I'm not sitting here telling you the market's going to crash. This is just a trade for the day, okay? But we sit and we wait. And what are we waiting for? I'm particularly waiting for this. I'm waiting for the cloud flip, or I'm waiting for structure to break. And that's exactly what happened. Here's the deal. You guys can chime in. After price has moved from the 6,900, okay, down to, guess what? The 68.88, right? It's an 88. After price has moved down, so the ES, this is the ES this time, has moved down 12 points. The majority of people will say what? The move is over. That was a nice fade. We can actually enter the trade even after it's gone down here to 77. We can actually enter the trade here and really catch the actual move, right? So it's about patience. It's about this, I think, is the biggest key right there. It's telling you to take your hands off the mouse. Stop being so bullish here. Yes, it looks pretty. It looks great, but sellers have been detected. Sellers have been detected in this market. And then we just start to look for structure to follow that thesis or that regime, if you will, right? And all of these other visuals make it so. Okay, so it's really cool. Now, here's something that I teach in the Matrix NQ. I teach zero DTE in that as well. And this is a great tool for zero DTE. This is the SPY that's on the screen here. Okay. And so zero DTE is not necessarily something that you have to be super finite. Like, I'm going to buy the 26. It's an option. So you've got time, right? You don't have to be on a very finite specific level, but these are my levels for SPY. So you can see here that we're trending down. There's a bull sweep right here, right? So the exhaustion of sellers has been indicated by this big green arrow here. These arrows, which I will teach you guys all about this stuff in the matrix. These arrows indicate that we potentially have some continuation. And then you can't really see it, but this is where the cloud flips for us. And then you just start to look for blow-offs or just kind of, this coincides with a big green candle right here, right? It kind of shows you that it's like cleaning stuff out, if you will. But the way that I would utilize this is I would utilize this. This would get my antenna up to look at a potential call, right? And this went for $2, so it was worth your time, right? So just look, that's the idea, you guys, is to give you guys a new tool, something that bolts on to what we're already doing. A lot of you guys already know when I call this stuff out, but it's really, really good. Not only for the SPY, I'm only showing you this as, as an example. Works really well on SPX as well. We don't really get sweeps on SPX, but we will get structure on SPX. And then my levels, I have certain levels for that as well. So, that's it, you guys. That is what I've been developing. That's what I've been kind of working on in the background for you guys to, again, just kind of augment, what we're already doing.
Yeah, as you guys, as you just saw, first of all, I want to throw out this. So we're talking about spiders, we're talking about S&P futures contracts, we're talking about Nasdaq, and this is actually literally the matrix key is available and works effectively on all the products in here. We're going to talk to you a little bit about that right now. So the matrix key is really showing you where you are inside the structure. Okay, I actually want to specifically mention NQ. I mean, that's what Tony is definitively known for, of course, is the NQ. And the most critical aspect of it is it's highlighting major turns, okay, and opening up, okay, more effectively and visually some of the high probability windows. Okay, warns you when the conditions are shifting, okay, or momentum is fading. When we're talking about conditions, we're actually talking about, for instance, there's a big compression, which means a more significant move happens to be coming. You still make the decisions, but now you're actually getting visual guidance. You're actually getting a route for it. So it changes everything because for the first time ever, Tony has taken what he has actually learned and kind of distilled it down, okay, into one exclusive tool to guide you, again, visually, clarity, okay, a tool that turns some of the confusion into structure. This is a huge amount to go over inside of an hour, an absolute huge amount. There's 10 different setups that take people some time. You got to get the setups under your belt, and then all of a sudden the tool, okay, is what literally puts that together more effectively for you. So it's a tool that turns that confusion, okay, into structure, and the structure into your opportunities. So today is the first time we've even discussed it. It's the first time that it's been looked at, been revealed by anything. Okay, in a moment, Tony's actually going to show you how you can learn, okay, the entire matrix system, okay, and you can get exclusive access, obviously, to the matrix key for the first time. And this one it's really, I think it's the biggest breakthrough we've had since we brought Tony in here, and the Nasdaq was trading at 4,400. And today is kind of the chance to unlock it. So couple of clients. I'm up 8,853 from John T. Wow, just made my first $1,000 today from Julie W. Tony, this week I made 4,280 from Shirley Q. Tony, I banked $344,000 solely, okay, thanks to your system. I trade from home, play tennis anytime I like. I tell friends it's like having an ATM in my house every day. I just decide how much I want to take out from John P. Introducing, okay, the Matrix NQ Mastermind. Now, the mastermind, okay, predominantly. You have got to learn the system. All right. It's 12 live matrix sessions. This is where there's going to be weekly live training to decode NQ structure, okay, with Tony Rago. And I'm going to go into this in more depth, but I just want to show, okay, what is included. And the predominant aspect of this is, yeah, there's still a learning curve. And yeah, okay, we want you, okay, to want to go through obviously 12 weeks of Tony. How long is each session? We're going to get into that, but they usually last 90 minutes to even 2 hours. Like Tony doesn't stop, okay, until you stop asking questions. So the entire session, of course, is recorded. We'll get into some more details. The Matrix Mega Day, this is a full day event. So not only are you getting 12 full sessions, you're getting one full day of immersion, okay, to integrate setups and live applications. All right, then we come into the Matrix, okay, key indicator. That is a proprietary indicator. That's exactly what we were showing you here moments ago. That's actually giving you that kind of visual and giving you the setup. Okay, critically important over here. Indicator serving as your roadmap to the NQ, the ES, the spiders. Okay, we're even bridging our way with his K tech. We're bridging our way into zero DTE, which is obviously a really, okay, hot area of today's marketplace. Okay, the 2026 expanded curriculum. So those of you that know some of the nuclear codes, those of you that know some of the setups, okay, this is a comprehensive curriculum of strategies and concepts. And the aspect that's being added, obviously, some of you guys have been through, significant amount of Tony, okay, and have spent literally years with Tony Rago and working with him. The expanded curriculum, of course, is going to include everything wrapped around technology. It's time to actually step in. It's 2026. We're actually going to step in and actually build out the tech over there. All of this has replays. Every aspect, every spoken word here at TheoTrade is recorded. You can play us back at, slower speeds, faster speeds, whatever it does for you. You're also going to get proprietary email support, which means at any point you're having trouble, you're not totally with it, you're a little lost in something, email us. If we don't get your questions answered live inside of a chat room, just like this, because every time you come to one of these matrix sessions, in that 12-week session, okay, you are live with Tony, all right? And look, yes, there's other clientele in there. Either the other clientele are helping you or Tony is directly, but it's a huge Q&A session. So it's not just instruction. It's also a heavy Q&A section over here, but you're given priority email, okay, support specifically because not everything necessarily comes up during those sessions. It's a Sunday night. Hit Tony with an email. That's what he wants. He just answers email during the NFL games. It's good. And a fast action bonus. Okay, this is for the first 20 people that enroll today. Futures 101 intro, golden setup on demand masterclass. Okay, this is for the first 20 people that enroll today. We're actually going to give you the golden setup on demand, which is an entire course structure unto itself. Okay, so the bonus training is added. There's no extra cost for it. For those of you that join first 20 people in here. Okay, the enrollment today, it's $2,000. Okay, it's $2,000 enrollment. And again, it includes everything on here. Okay. Now, there's a 30-day money back guarantee. And I'm going to throw out all the caveats right now. Okay. There really aren't any. And the 30-day money back guarantee, okay, it does not start until the day, okay, that the mastermind starts, which I'm going to cover here momentarily. Okay. What are you, January 6th, is it?
Yeah.
I
First
believe it's
Tuesday.
January 6th. Okay. The first major session is January 6th. So the 30-day money back guarantee, right? There's no stipulations. Just email us. Okay. Let's cut through all the crap and minutia. It's a 30-day money back guarantee, but that does not start. So you can literally go to it, feel it out, make sure it's for you. Okay. Look, it's not about you in the first 30 days. I got to make money. Okay. No, you got to learn first. People are worried about the brokerage firms. Don't worry about the broker. We got you covered. It's been 15 years in the brokerage side of the business. Okay. You got brokerage related questions. You want better commissions. We'll tell you where to go. Literally, I mean, there's a bunch of different brokers, but we'll tell you the best brokers, okay, specifically the best commission structure, the best charting, okay, and we'll cover all of that and cover all of that in detail. But people get too caught up in what broker and my commissions and then how much capital, okay, get through the training. That's why there's a 30-day money back guarantee associated with it. Follow me over right now. It's theotrade.com, theotrade.com/matrix. I'm actually going to pull it up on the screen right now. Make sure everybody sees it. Again, the link is inside of the chat room, theotrade.com/matrix. As I scroll down to the bottom of this, okay, you'll want to put viable email address in here, okay? so that we can actually email you almost immediately access, okay, to this room. So again, it's a enrollment today is $2,000. If you have TheoTrade credits, we got you. Okay. If you have TheoTrade credits, support at theotrade.com to use your credit. We're totally fine with that. There's a 30-day money back guarantee associated with this. Okay. Use the matrix key. Okay. Try the program. Okay. Attend the sessions, experience the transformation. If you don't love it, email us, get a refund. Okay. And again, the 30-day money back guarantee, okay, starts January 6th. I wanted to put that in writing. Like nobody, like I don't want you to feel like, oh, it's on the line. Look, what's on the line right now, okay, is the first 20 people to get in here are going to get a hell of a lot more. Okay, we're actually going to give you the entire golden setup, and that's another mastermind unto itself. You'll understand so much before you even step into the room, okay, in January. So that's a big portion. You're like, it's a little bit of a ways out over there. Okay. It is because we want you to go through, right? Look, you got to have skin in the game over here. You're still the one pulling the trigger on these trades. Okay. And we want you to understand it into finite detail. And that's phenomenal. We will do everything in our power, okay, to get you up to speed on exactly what Tony does and all 10 of these setups in here. Okay. In addition, the matrix key, which is a brand new piece of technology. Again, as you actually scroll to the bottom of the page over here, make sure all your contact information is correct. We make this as easy as can be. It's $2,000 for it. And when people ask about, well, is it this, is it that? Look, for $2,000, you get it. Okay. It's recorded. It's there in the tank forever. The piece of technology, okay, it's yours. It's yours. So that's the actual order form. Now let me come back over here. Again, it's theotrade.com/matrix. Now let's get to some specifics over here. 12 weeks, 12 powerful sessions. Okay. The one mission to make sure you, okay, understand what Tony is doing. Okay. So you're going to learn the matrix system, okay, directly from Tony. Obviously, by the way, Tony hosts all of them. And as I said to you, these sessions, they were supposed to what? They were supposed to go like an hour, 90 minutes. Okay. I've never seen you out of there in less than 90 minutes or 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, these sessions, there's 12 of them because, initially what you hear today, what I heard today, it's overwhelming. This is the first time, like there's people that have come in here. Okay. I think it was a Rebecca earlier in the chat room was actually saying, I don't even know what a futures contract is. And I'm like, you're fine. Okay. For that, seriously. Okay. You got to go to Futures 101. I actually do the Futures 101 class because I love futures contracts. Like I'm, by the way, I don't believe in, there's people that are like, I'm a futures trader. I'm an options trader. Look, I'm an equal opportunity. I'll buy and sell anything as long as it's liquid. Stocks, options, futures, crypto. I don't give a damn. Okay. Fire at will, but you have to have structure. You got to be able to get risk out. And that's exactly what this is going to do for you. Okay. Okay. Built for consistency. That is what this is. There are 10 high probability setups. Okay. You are definitely going to gravitate, okay, to 2 or 3 of them. Unequivocally, everybody gravitates 2 or 3 of them. Why are there 10 of them? Because that's what's been identified, overall, a whole lot of time and a whole lot of capital. And by the way, our identification here isn't sitting there and back testing, none of that crap. Okay. Our identification, and Tony knows this, I don't give a crap what he says. I want to see the trades. This is all about execution. He'll literally show me a trade blotter of everything that he's done, and it is painful to go through it. And that's where these setups actually come from, is not some back-tested garbage. This is live trade. It's execution. And anybody, okay, that's in here right now that has traded with Tony knows exactly that. It's about live execution. It's about skin in the game. The only thing you learn from backtesting, okay, is that backtesting may work and trading it live doesn't. Okay. Here, it's about live execution. Okay. We're not here to overwhelm you. Yeah, there's 10 setups. Yeah, is some, some terminology over here. What's a 26? Okay. Don't worry about that. That comes. Okay. And I bet you anything, by the time January 6th rolls around, if you put a little time in, okay, especially over the holidays, you have nothing but time over the holidays. What else are you going to do? Hang out with your in-laws? You got some time in there. Okay. Put in time, put in a little bit of effort. I'm telling you, like, look, I know people want instant coffee, instant tea. Put forth a little bit of effort. Okay. Here in the NASDAQ, it pays if you understand. All right. Step-by-step training. Okay. Real-time clarity. Okay, you're going to get screen shared the entire time. During every one of the sessions, we're sharing screens exactly like this, okay? And we'll use a number of different brokerage platforms. People, as I said, they get real hung up like, it's on Thinkorswim, it's on Sierra Charts, it's on this one, okay? Who cares? It doesn't matter. Look, worked and helped build Think or Swim. Okay. No allegiance whatsoever to Charles Schwab. None. Okay. I don't have allegiance to any of the brokerage firms. They're a dime a dozen. It's like an accountant. Okay. Figure out what we're doing first. We'll get you placed with the best broker specifically for you. And I'm always very adamant about that because people get so hung up on, I use this brokerage firm. Okay. Wake up. Have no love for your broker because they don't love you. The only thing they love is your money. Okay. You got to go what's going to be most effective for you. And that may not be with the brokerage firm you're with. Okay. This structure is going to teach you a lot. Learn it first. Will get you a great brokerage platform thereafter. So live Q&A, live screen sharing, okay, structured progression that builds, okay, week to week. All right. The Matrix Mega Day. This is a full day with Tony, and it is a full day. I mean, man, I don't know how you do this anymore. I really don't. 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Strap in because here we
Yeah.
go. It is Tony. There's lunch, there's breaks, like pretty much like every hour to 90 minutes. Okay. It's the deepest, most advanced training. And what it's basically doing, and it's perfect because you're like halfway through the session, right? So you start January 6th, you're going this is like squeezing. Okay. You got to realize you're getting 12 sessions and then you're throwing this in between.
Oh yeah.
This, I mean, it's huge. Okay. I mean, realistically in there, okay, you have a good 5, 6 hours, okay, of Tony pretty much unchained. That alone, in all seriousness, we used to do a 1 day mentorship. Years ago, we do a 1 day mentorship with Tony. It's $2,000 for the day. You're getting that here. This is like a mentorship for 2 grand unto itself. That's just included. You're getting the other 12 mentors, like, the other 12 masterminds included in there. So the day that hopefully everything clicks for you. Okay. And if it doesn't, that's where you start emailing. And that's why I actually like that you put this kind of like halfway home. That's not necessarily just the end and be
Yeah.
like, oh, it's a finale, bye-bye, off into the sunset. Okay. You're putting the extreme right in the middle, okay, of your mastermind. And I think that that's critically important. You're going to transform, okay, the trading, live simulations, okay, deep market breakdowns, full integrations of codes and setups, okay, designed to accelerate you months in literally 1 day. Now, the matrix key indicator, this thing is brand new, okay, built from these nuclear codes, okay, that Tony has, plus the matrix setups. So, as in, this is what we kind of call like a Google Maps for futures. Okay, shows when probability is rising or fading, and it's literally visual setups. Okay, reveals the matrix setup. Okay, is engaged and engaging, if you will, right now. Help you stay. Okay, in winners longer, exit losers earlier. You're going to hear about, a term instead of winners longer, you're going to hear about it's a runner. For those of you that have no idea what a runner happens to be, okay, a runner literally is a trade that you're in and continues to run effectively your direction, usually left with like one contract, and the market just continues to run one direction. We call it a runner, but that's literally what you're going to get from this. So imagine some of you that have actually spent some time trading this, okay, to have an indicator to say, hey, no, it's okay, stay in it, stay in it, stay in the runner, stay in the runner, stay in the runner, because it gets a little edgy out there. Exclusive to the Matrix NQ members only. All right, the expanded 2026 curriculum. So learn where the nuclear codes were born. So one of the aspects that Tony's going to get into that he's never done in any of the mentorships before is he's actually going to explain to you, okay, the origin. Like the question everybody always has, Tony, is like, why the 26, man?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
why the
Always.
26? And I get that question. What's funny is because I asked the exact same thing. And okay, instead of really asking Tony, I went and asked the question and then tried to like regression analysis, figured out myself. Okay. Came to some of the exact same conclusions Tony did, but he's actually going to tell the story, okay, effectively behind it. And the reason, okay, the origin behind this is critically important because we believe that there's probably other, okay, specific setups that exist in here. Okay. And it's development. It's developing you as a trader way more effectively in there. So it'll apply to the matrix logic behind, beyond the NQ. Again, master a second futures market. So, Tony, how much are you going to actually talk about the ES during the mastermind?
Quite a bit. The ES is becoming a trade, and again, there's so much spillover between the two because it all started, excuse me, with the ES. Um, so everything that I'm doing on the NQ works with the ES. And typically the ES is a slower trade, but these markets today are getting crazy. So giving you every aspect of the ES, the underlying, and again, it's all the same. It just happens much faster on the NQ, and I've got things more into the NQ where we can trade the ES as an actual market. So I'm going to be spending a lot of time on the ES, honestly.
Yeah, by the way, I fully appreciate the in the ES over there because the NQ, when things get really wild,
Yeah,
okay, it's like downshift from the NQ, flip over. I mean, look, you're
yeah,
one symbol away, one symbol away. By the way, I just want to read a couple of names. As I said to you guys initially, it's the first 20, okay, that register that get access to the full-blown golden setup mastermind. I'm going to read off a couple of names as some enrollments come in, and I'm also just verifying, and we see you guys, but it takes me about 5 to 7 minutes before I actually see these. George P. from New Jersey, Paul S. from Florida, Rob N. from Tennessee, Daryl C. from Texas, William A. from California, George B. from Virginia, Bill S. from Maryland, Jeff T. from Florida, Tracy G. from Washington, Frederick S. from Florida, Bill K. from Texas, Walker M. from Hawaii, and Patricia K. from Florida. All right, that's the first batch of names that just came through. As more names come through, I'll gladly read them off. And thank you guys as you do enroll. I'm just letting you know specifically, I see you should receive a welcome email in the next couple of moments. Michael S. from Hawaii and Mike W. from Ohio. Okay, Hawaii. It's nice early time zone. You couldn't be any
yeah.
further away from me. Yeah, I'm as far east as you could possibly be and still be in the United States territory right now. So moving along over here with the expanded curriculum, as I was saying, okay, the second marketplace is unlock ES with new clarity. And one of the primary reasons, I think it's incredibly important. Everybody always asks about, does this thing convert from the NQ over to the S&Ps? By the way, I call it the ES. It's the S&P futures. Okay, it's the most, if you will, prolific product. It's the S&P 500. That's what you're trading. It's the S&P 500 traded though as a futures contract. And the answer is yes. Okay. There is a conversion, and that's exactly what is going to be discussed over here. So we're going to expand the opportunity, okay, without adding noise. If anything, I like the S&P because it's a little bit less noisy than NASDAQ over there. But you're going to discover again the setup's unique to the S&P rhythm as well. Okay, futures trading A through Z. I like this part too. Everything Tony wishes he had starting out. Margin, mechanics, session structure, okay? How to manage risk, understanding why, okay? Behind price movement. So understanding why price is moving the way it effectively is. So that's yeah, the margin portion of it too. People get so caught up in margin and brokerage side of the business, but it's an area that, hey, we want you to be comfortable with, and absolutely that will be covered here. Okay. The perfect on-ramp for any trader, no experience required. I want to make that very, very clear. Okay. If you feel right now you're like, I'm at a little bit, I'm a little behind, like I haven't necessarily traded anything over here, there's no experience required. In fact, I think Tony and myself would both argue, okay, taking somebody that has like no prior knowledge, okay, it's the exact same thing as taking somebody that has, experience in here, because many of the people that have experience, there's a lot of habits, if you will, that have to be unlearned. And sometimes that's more difficult to unlearn, okay, especially trading futures contracts, to unlearn some really nasty habits. Or, okay, those that kind of fight a little bit. They're like, I've traded before. I'm going to use this indicator on top of this. Okay.
Yep.
You got to come in here. You got to come in here. You got to come in here with a clean like slate. And again, no experience required. Um, Building confidence, okay, before some of the live setups, just your confidence of understanding, right? And that's imperative. And that's where this is where the micro contracts come in. Okay. A micro contract, it's not going to kill you. It's $2, okay, per point move. In the wildest, woolliest day, you move 100 points, very, very rapidly in the NASDAQ. Okay. It's a $200 move. Okay. And you would be able to clearly see that it's, a 100-point plus move in a short period of time. But you're going to become very, very fluent in the language of futures. And to do that, again, helps build that confidence. It's just a critical resource to you. All right, golden setup. So the Tony's original $620 a day breakthrough. That's the golden setup. The intent was always to hit $620 a day. It's still one of the most reliable structures. Okay. What is going to be taught in here, though, is taking that original golden setup and adding, okay, the matrix key, the piece of technology effectively to it. All right. Boom, boom, 620 from the golden setup that comes from poolside. My goal is 620 day. Okay. And after just 2 weeks, I've been able to, been consistently winning. Comes from Henry L. in Marshall, Texas. That's golden, Tony. Okay. I just made $1,500. All right. Mm. Bread and butter opportunity engine. Clear triggers, clear targets. Perfect. Okay. For reinforcing discipline. Your dependable setup. Okay. Inside the matrix ecosystem. So those are all aspects, of course, of expanding this curriculum. Now, the opening range strategy. Okay. Master the most volatile hour of the day. Find where early setups. Okay, fire is strongest, learn how the pros approach the open. Now, I was just thinking to myself, as a couple of people from Hawaii, you don't necessarily have to trade at the open. Okay.
Yeah.
It's yeah, 3:30 in the morning just doesn't sound like all that reasonable to some of you. I don't want you to feel kind of left out, but it's an aspect that there's a lot of two-sided trade. That means markets that go higher and lower during the open. Okay. And some people absolutely love it. It's advantageous. It's volatile. If you know you're one of those people, okay, the opening strategy range is really going to be appropriate for you. So there'll be again a special little added, portion of this mastermind specifically to like open range and opening volatility. So the chaos and opportunity structure for fast moving markets. See the open with new clarity, okay, and chase the real momentum. Obviously, S&P scalping, okay, with the nuclear codes. So this goes back to the S&P is rooted in the same code logic that Tony has worked on for many many years. Okay, clear scalp triggers, high frequency opportunities. Okay, perfect complement to the matrix key. All right, Fibonacci mastery. Okay, listen, I'm not a huge advocate of the fibs. I'm not a huge advocate of these. Okay. But what is interesting over here is, okay, integrated fib confluence. Tony's exact Fibonacci rules. Okay. How fib levels merge with the codes. This is something, okay, I almost feel like, it's tertiary, just added on top of it. Again, some people have actually used Fibonacci's. Okay. And if for those of you who are kind of curious, the 26 doesn't necessarily rely on any of the Fibonacci's. Okay. But can effectively align to this. All right. Precision targets. Okay. Fibs for confluence. Okay. To refine your trades, strengthen exits and ads, upgrade your entire targeting philosophy. This is zero DTE. Now, this is okay. I really believe that the matrix key, the technology portion of this, I think helps identify some of the setups phenomenally over here. Okay, so you're avoiding the trap of random zero DTE trades. Okay, so a portion of this mastermind is going to be dedicated, okay, to setups, specifically setups for zero DTE. So apply, okay, that matrix structure to trading zero DTE options, which are available if you guys are familiar with spiders, QQQ, XSP, SPX. Okay, these are all products that offer zero DTE. Even the futures contracts themselves offer, okay, options on futures, which are also zero DTE. So for those of you that have any, inkling of maybe I'm not that comfortable with trading the futures contracts, okay, the option side of the marketplace is effective. It is open. Okay. And it's very, very liquid out there right now. Okay. Structure in a volatile environment. Okay. You're going to know when to attack, know when not to touch it. That's actually a big portion of the technology, aspect that's been added. Okay. And again, that's what really integrates with the matrix key. So replay access. You're never going to miss a session. Okay. I know that 12 weeks for some people, it's a bit of a commitment. Okay. That is fine. So it starts off on January 6th. What time are you actually starting? You're starting 4:30 Eastern, January 6th?
Yeah, it's every Tuesday, 4:30 Eastern
Okay.
are our sessions.
So,
And then you got the mega day, which is a Saturday, by the way.
yeah, exciting. It's I'm gonna remember that day. It's like, is that the day before Super Bowl?
I mean, you usually on that day, you
Yeah.
check in with me and you go, dude, you're still doing this? And then you give me the hook. You're like, get these people out of here. There's some of these people have lives.
By the way, I'm going to tell you right now, I've had to on many occasion, I'm like, Tony was supposed to be done at like 5 o'clock, like Eastern. It's like 7 o'clock at night. And I'm like, you gotta go, man. You gotta wrap
Yeah.
things up over here.
Get out of there.
He doesn't stop. He doesn't stop. And you know what? I want you guys to understand though, that's kind of the dedication, if you will. And then by the way, after I stop him, of course, like 25 emails pour in after that, minutes
Yeah.
after that. It's okay. Like, look, that's what we're here for.
I love
And
it, man. I love
yeah,
it.
no, I know. I always tell people like, and this is so it's absolutely like relative. Before we even started Theo Trade, I'd sit in front of my computer screen and just talk to the screen anyway. And my wife used to say, you should put a microphone in front of you. People might actually want to hear that. And I'm like, most of the stuff was like R rated. They didn't want to
Yeah,
hear.
exactly.
But all of us that are doing this now, like we sit here and talk to ourselves, talk to the screen. Okay. Even when I'm not live, I'm still talking to the screen over here. Right now, I'm not saying good things to the marketplace as it rallies back up. But and then this is like, what you do. Okay. VIP priority email access. So for those of you, again, and I wanted to reiterate this, if you didn't get your questions answered the first time, you're going to jump the line for 12 full weeks. So the way it works is when you are enrolling today, okay, for the 12-week mastermind, you're also getting the bonus day in there. We actually tag you in our system, okay, to basically jump directly to Tony. So when you email, the emails, okay, get allotted directly to Tony, and you actually are prioritized in our email system. We use Zendesk. It's really easy to do. So we have priority access set up through a tagging system. So again, your questions are going to be answered first, direct personal access to Tony. And Tony answers the emails. Like it's not, a version of Tony. Okay. It is the Tony. And he'll answer, sometimes on a Sunday afternoon after a bike ride in between NFL games. That's what I do too. I mean, there's this like 2 weeks ago, I spent like 4 hours, like on a Sunday, like answering an email. I'm like, that's a good time. Kids throwing crap over my head. It's a good day. It's a good day. By the way, I just wanted to read off a couple more names. Gary S. from California, Valerie S. from California, Sushi G from Connecticut, Paul P. from Georgia, Brett P. from South Carolina, Bruce N. from New Mexico, Lon D. from Pennsylvania, Donald P. from Massachusetts, Gary R. from Wisconsin. I hear the weather's nice this time of the year up there as I'm sitting here in like 83 degrees. By the way, I've spent a lot of time up in Rylander, Wisconsin on a snowmobile, freezing in February.
I
It's
can't
lovely.
see you in Wisconsin for some reason, man.
Oh man, I went ice fishing. Okay. A lot of traders. So there's a lot of traders from Chicago that have like second homes up in Wisconsin. And one of my best friends, he's a little older than me. He's got a couple more rings around the tree. Had a place up in Rylander. Spent a lot of time there in the winter and summer. Okay. And I like it up there. I could do without the 70 miles an hour on a snowmobile, in 1 o'clock in the morning. But outside of that, I'm all for it. Okay. So it's good stuff. So a personal mentor for 12 weeks. Again, perfect for again anybody that's serious. Okay, it can change your like it will change your trading trajectory. One thing I say, like this alone can change, it will change it. And again, there's some input that's got to be on your part. And I always challenge people for that because a mastermind like this, okay, to trade this stuff, yeah, you got to learn. Okay, and this is not, it's not rocket science by any stretch of the imagination. You probably have 8 to 12 terms and definitions. I call them Ragoisms. Okay. Once you learn some of the Rago vocabulary and he teaches you that a handle is a point, literally, he'll say the word handle. You're like, I don't see any handles over here. Okay.
Yeah.
Handles are points. You learn a couple of terms and definitions. Okay. And his famous saying is Bob's your uncle, which means, you're good to go. You're good to go. And I mean, that's it. That's what you kind of have to learn over here. So again, this is the bonus for the first 20 enrollees. And I think we're almost, if not at that 20 enrollees. Um, we're giving you the Futures 101, okay, and the Golden Setup on demand masterclass. And the Golden Setup, this is highly, highly detailed, okay, and you will want to go to this. Like, listen to it. Please listen to it before January 6th. It'll help you immensely to go through that. Like, as you're enrolling today and you get the email, like, we'll put it right in there. Okay. It's literally going to be right in there. Okay. Go. And if you can't find it, support at theotrade.com. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll find it for you. Like we'll get back to you almost immediately to show you where that archive happens to be. There's no reason not to listen to it. Okay. Um, David T from Arizona, Tim M from Colorado, Richard P from Texas. Yeah, a sheet of Ragoisms. Okay. By the way, there really is.
Oh,
For years, I made fun of you for like, unique trader lingo. Tony
do
has
you,
it all.
do you remember one live event? We had a member that brought a T-shirt with them listed on the back. You remember that? He
You
gave me a
help.
T. I still have it somewhere. I have to wear it one day for one of my sessions.
Try to help some of that in there. So this is just a nice value add for those of you that enroll. Okay. Um, Providing exceptional value that comes from Rick M. And you are. Okay. I mean, it's exceptional. When you guys go to the masterminds, you'll understand a lot more there. Golden Setup pays again. Again, everything that's yours. 12 sessions. Okay. That's 12 live. Again, mastermind sessions, the matrix, that's a full day. The matrix key indicator, that's the piece of technology. Okay. 2026 expanded curriculum, especially for those of you that have already seen some of the nuclear codes, some of you that have actually been through a couple of Rago masterminds. Okay, understand the curriculum has been expanded, of course, to include the matrix key. Replays, priority email access, and of course, fast action bonus. All of it is actually included. Now, the 30-day money back guarantee, I wanted to throw this up here one more time. Try the program, okay? There's zero risk to you. As I always say to people, like, we want people that want to be here. And I don't mind giving you, a 30-day, runner on that one over there. If it's not a match, get a full refund. That's okay. Okay. Email us. And we say, oh, email us and no questions asked. Actually, I always ask the question like, well, what's wrong? I mean, that helps us. Okay, it helps us. Like sometimes life gets in the way. I get it. Okay, Tony takes all the risk off the shoulders over here. By the way, your 30-day money back guarantee activates when the mastermind begins. Okay, because we realize what date it is. You know, You've got about 3 weeks till this. Okay. It kicks off January 6th. Okay. Attend all these sessions in there within the 30-day window from January 6th. Okay. Use the key. Okay. Test the system. It's risk free. It's completely risk free for you. So, enrollment obviously, okay, kicks off right now. And the session itself is actually going to start Tuesday, January 6th, 4:30. Okay. And we are going to limit the total number in here. It's usually right around 100 people that'll be live in there with Tony on a mastermind to mastermind kind of basis. Okay. All right. Again, if you have questions and you need to get on the phone with us, and we've been posting this in the chat room, 623-244-5657. Okay. You can speak with a real person at a time like we're doing a session. And there's a lot of people obviously on today. Okay. Let me take you a couple of minutes to get through. It's okay. Like we'll get back to you too if we have to. And again, make the best decision for you. You can call them because there's certain people that just are not comfortable. Like I get it, putting your credit card in online, or you've got a specific question, okay, that's outside the scope of something I've covered today. Hit them up 623-244, okay, 5657. Okay. All right. Those of you, some of you actually have what we term Theo Trade credits. If you have credits, email us. That's all you have to do. Okay. If you have credits, email us. Support@theotrade.com. You can use credits for this, which is it's a great gift. It's just a great gift over there. The credit system that we actually built here at Theo Trade. Okay. Who it's for and who it's not. For traders who are ready to specialize, okay, go deep and stop guessing. Not for people chasing alerts or signals. So we're actually going to teach you a system in here, okay, a specific system. Structure, get risk out, learn the system over here. It's not plug and play, okay, it's plug in, the code behind the move. And that's one of the most important things is, okay, I don't like to use the term like, oh, it's plug and play, okay, because you're actually going to learn everything that's behind the system. So there's nothing that's going to be, not disclosed to you within this, including the kind of the matrix key, the piece of technology, be deep explanations of what has actually gone into that. All right. Do I need to know the golden setup first? No, there's no experience. Okay. If you've mastered the golden setup, you're going to unlock, like you'll just love the next steps in here. If you've never traded NK futures, okay, it's a perfect place to start. You're going to get everything you need. Okay. From the chart setup to the strategy walkthroughs. Okay. It's fresh. It's complete framework. There's no prerequisites. And I've gone through that a couple of times because, as I said, it's a couple terms and definitions. Tony, so far I'm up $64,130. Thanks for always being there for me. That comes from Randall. Okay. Traded both of Tony's golden setups. $4,014 net profit comes from Mark B. Okay. Again, the 2026 won't wait. The holidays. Okay. Traders are going to reflect, decide what changes they're going to finally make. You'll get to do that too. But when January hits, and it'll hit fast, okay, the market doesn't slow down for anyone. Okay. If you want to make, a little difference in 2026, okay, hop in. In fact, you can get started literally when I say get started today. Watch the golden setup chat today. Okay. So most traders are going to enter January with the same tools, same habits, same blind spots. Okay. And they wonder why every year feels the same. Okay. NQ should be your chance to break that cycle. I think it's a great way to start off a year too. I like this structure, clarity, a little bit of a roadmap. Okay. The markets are getting faster, more algorithmic, more, if you will, punishing to guesswork and so forth. Matrix key is going to give you the structure you need to navigate that world. So enter the new year with a bit more of an edge. Okay. And I love this quote over here. I love the structure and discipline because that's literally what it's about. Okay. This is your new year inflection point. 12 weeks from now, okay, you'll be into 2026 trading with the matrix key and 10 powerhouse setups. Okay. We're going to be trying to piece together, okay, for another year. And that's a lot of people do that and they struggle. Okay. One decision changes the entire trajectory of your 2026. Started off with Tony. Resolutions fade. A real system changes everything. You don't need more willpower. You need a framework built for today's marketplaces. So check it out. Join the Matrix NQ. Okay. Get the confidence, get some direction immediately. Okay. So the trader you've been versus the trader you could be. And that's always something, by the way, Tony, this is something that's kind of near and dear to me. Okay. Is that people base so much, okay, on what your best guesses. Okay. In front of you is a chance to actually trade with a roadmap and a mentor. So that's a lot of trading is people are like literally left to best guesses. Okay.
Yeah.
Use the mastermind, use a mentorship. The real question is, who do you want to be? It's constant question. Who do you want to be in here? So again, path one, keep trading without the matrix key. Tony in your corner. Path two, trade with a custom indicator built from the nuclear codes and a mentor who's already decoded this marketplace. Both paths cost time and energy. One is going to give you the matrix and Tony. Okay. So dabblers collect random indicators and YouTube tips. That's always a scary thing. Always searching, never committing. Okay. Specialists go deep. One market, one playbook. Okay. One matrix key guiding their decisions. Matrix NQ. Okay. Is where you stop dabbling and become a specialist in the NASDAQ with Tony as your guide. Okay. This is a line in the sand. So a few weeks from now, Matrix NQ members be trading with the key. Okay. On their screens and Tony in their inbox. Okay. You'll either be inside that circle. Okay. Or you'll be trying to piece things together a little bit by yourself. Okay. Today is when you decide literally which side you want to be on that stand over there. Okay. So if your gut's telling you, hey, it's the time to trade, the real roadmap and a real mentor, listen to it. You can go to the link, reserve your spot, and call 623-244-5657. Talk with us. Okay. Averaging $1,000 to $2,000 a day. Okay. I like that Tony and I trade one ticker. Okay. And I don't have to study numerous stocks or charts. Okay. Finding you has been life changing. Just banked $1,000. Made $1,020 today. Booked about 6,000 in profits from Sam. Okay. I love this. This is great. Okay. Keep
Yeah.
trading blind, guessing. Okay. Okay. Or the red pill. Enter the matrix. One ticker, 10 proven setups over here. We're going to answer a couple of questions. A few more names I want to read off in here. See if I got this one. And I do apologize if I'm rereading your names. David T. from Arizona, Tim M. from Colorado, Richard P. from Texas, Camel Q from Pennsylvania, Michael G. from Louisiana, Juan A. from Florida, Jeffrey T. from Florida. I think I got most of the names. I was trying to remember where I actually left off over here. So people always ask some pretty specific questions over here. These are some generalized ones, and then we'll answer some specific ones because I feel like I've gone way over in time, but that's okay. Okay. So people always ask what you need to get started. Laptop, internet connection. In trading futures contracts, I feel like you should probably be either on a laptop, okay, or you don't have to have a million monitors up. You really don't. People get so carried away with their trading setups over there. Okay. By the way, I'm totally one of them. I am totally one of them. Anyway, The live sessions, so you need a laptop to get started. Like literally, if there's something you need, okay, before January 6th, please email us, let us know. Let us know. Okay. We'll hit you back. No problem whatsoever. That's important. The live sessions go deep. Okay. 12 structured weeks with curriculum, okay, that builds week by week. Essential pre-training helps you hit the ground running. So obviously, like as I said to you guys, I want people to come in here and I want them to listen to the golden setup. I want them to listen to Futures 101 prior to, okay? There's no auto renewals. Like this is it. This is a one-time, it's a one-time thing. They don't renew. There's no, ongoing commitment. It's 12 weeks, okay? The piece of technology, it's yours, code, so no problem there whatsoever. Variations of the trades are available inside of an IRA, a retirement account. And you can do this with as little as $2,000 within the account. We are limiting the spots, okay? And again, we're limiting spots predominantly based on demand, okay, as of right now. And the demand is absolutely huge, okay? So we try to limit so that Tony sessions have no more than 100 people live on each session. And I get it. Some people actually listen to it recorded, and we take that into account. Okay. So get results, take action, enroll now. You guys will absolutely love what Tony is doing in the NQ matrix. So we're going to spend a couple of minutes answering a few questions in chat. Again, I'll throw the enrollment form up there one more time, 623, okay, 244-5657 if you need to call us. Again, you can actually go to theotrade.com/matrix. Again, for those of you that have any questions whatsoever, hit us live in the chat room. Tony and I are actually going to spend a little bit more time in here. Okay. We're happy to answer a couple more questions. Okay. Again, these setups, and there's a bunch of them. Okay. There are so many opportunities throughout the day. So if you miss one, no big deal. Another one's coming up. People always ask that. Okay. Finest and most truthful organization I've ever dealt with. Okay. Banked $2,750 today. John, okay, just got another $400 on the golden setup. Okay, Tony, okay, I've just swept my account for my trades in June, okay, which was enough to pay for the rest of my father-in-law's chemo treatments, okay, and beyond. Now I have more time with Dad. Thank you for everything. My trades paid for the whole 90-day challenge today. Okay, made another $240. Thanks for the great lessons, Tony. Okay, day done. Day done means you've actually made, okay, your money, and literally you're done. $400, day done, 2 trades, day done. Having a finite attainable goal each day has really changed my mental approach, okay, on what counts as a win. Okay, yeah, first trade and green. Again, everything that's yours today. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for coming out today. Again, it's theotrade.com/matrix. Tony, behalf of myself, TheoTrade, hey, I want to thank you for actually putting this together. You're going to get
Absolutely.
tortured. You're going to get tortured starting January 6th, but look, this is what we do. Thanks,
Bring it
everybody.
on.
If you have questions, please, we're in the chat room right now to answer those. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye-bye.